Hello, my name is Katie Lacey and I'm a director at Let's Get Coffee. And this is what I've been making to try and help with the issue of the vulnerable or elderly not having access to internet. Um, it came to an idea when I was talking to me and my brother. He I was saying that I wanted to pass leaflets out to local neighbours, and then and a concern of mine was, what if I was to fall ill or I can't really help because I am type 1 diabetic, so I'm part of the vulnerable, but I still want to help in some way. So from my thinking, the main thing that I'm concerned about as well is people's mental health. Suicide rates could go up. In a few months' time, there could be break-ins, and there could be a massive overflow in the NHS and the police. So the idea with this is that it brings communities together, much like that I've seen other companies and other volunteers and aides have been doing. That it gives you access to more of a base to help you. So the idea being is the person would phone up, they would insert a code that a neighbour nearby has posted through their letterbox. Hopefully, if this could become a bit bigger thing, then we could possibly get post office to help us with this. But the idea being is they insert this letter and the person receives a number and a code that they then call up and dial in. Once the user's dialed this in, it then asks what type of help they need, if it's medication, if they just need someone to speak to, if it's an emergency, if they need supplies. Once they insert that information, a trigger is sent to people within that radius who are willing to help within that radius, so that they can go back in online, they can call the user through the website, and at no point is any data shared between these users until they're on the phone with each other. Another side to this is, if what happens if there's no one in the area, then if no one's in the area, I have got a database of volunteers nearby. Sorry, that could be carers. So I've got a couple of companies that said they're willing to help. So they're a fallback system. So if no one is nearby, it then falls back to a person that's within that area, or it just gets the closest person to them that's a carer. And if there's no one, then it falls back to myself. And what I'm doing at the moment is just reaching out to other volunteers, just to see if they could help me on this, if I could get some numbers, and then they could just either be notified by text message or email when someone needs help. So I'm just going to go through what I've done so far. Another idea that we've got going here, which I'll explain in a minute, that I still need to work on, but I have just been working on this 24/7 for the last 5 days because I'm really concerned, and want to get this out to people whilst we're still allowed out to help others. So if I'm just going to go to register. So as a user, I can sign up for help or I can sign up to help. The people that sign up for help, like myself, that I can use a website, so I'll sign up for help and I have my own generic code. The people that want to help, they also get a code too. So I'm just going to fill out some details here for a second. So I've just filled out some details there. At the point of when this is live, it's just been in testing at the moment, the user will need to upload a file, if they're going to be a volunteer, such as a bill, just to show that they are living at that address, that they're going to help nearby too. So I'm just going to submit this. Once this is normally submitted, we would then have to manually activate that person as a user. Just of safety precautions here, obviously. So if I just, okay, just see. Same password. So this is me as a volunteer. So this section here, this is what the person that needs help will also see when they log in. It's the only page that they will see. So they can dial, they insert the code, and then the people notified nearby. As a helper, I can generate codes and flyers within my postcode area. So going back to what I was saying before about going on this a bit more, I was speaking to my brother today and he had a very good idea, which would be, instead of generating through the postcode, what we could do is actually add a QR code on the leaflet itself. So if I just generate this right now, just to show you, I've got a code here. You can see that it's exactly the same on all of these leaflets, and these are all the people that are in my postcode area. That code itself does revert back, so I've reverse engineered it, so then it's a code which turns out to be the person's postcode essentially. So there's no data actually kept on that person, but the postcode is used, and then we get the lang lot from that. Lat long, keep doing that. But an idea what my brother had is we could have a QR code on here with a unique code for each individual leaflet. When the user goes to post this through a mailbox, they could scan the QR code. That will then get the current device's location and add it to the database. So then we know that that code is linked to that location. Only problem with that is things like VPNs. If people haven't got GPS turned on, that could be an issue. For right now, I think this works well because it shows the code for that postcode, and we know that that person in that postcode area is a legitimate person and lives there because we've had a copy of their bill. So the idea being these are passed through the door, and then the person can call up and tell you what they need help with. So I'm just going to do that now.
Thank you for calling. To help you, please enter your code provided by your neighbor, including any stars followed by a hash.
So I've just inserted the code here.
If this is an emergency, press 1. For help with supplies, press 2. For help with medication, press 3. If you would like someone to call for a chat, press 4. You selected emergency. We will notify people nearby. Please hang up and dial 111 or 999.
So I selected emergency because obviously the person still needs to get the emergency help, but the idea being from the emergency side, it's people notified. So if there is a time delay in the NHS or the ambulance getting there, people know and they can just keep calling in to check on the neighbour. Right now, there's no users nearby current to me that can help. So it's reverted back to the carer side that I mentioned before. Let me just see if I can show you. So you can see here, that's what the carer will see. And then if you're someone within the area, this is what you will see. So if I now go back, if I go to my profile, I can say what I'm available for. So I can be available for emergencies, picking up supplies and calls. If you're just available for calls, it actually doesn't limit you by distance because you can still do that anywhere in the world. And then the distance that we're willing to help. So if I click finish and then I go to calls waiting, we can see the call here that we've just made. Again, at no point, none of this, no personal information is shared about the user. If I click the plus icon, I can see the status, what they require, when they called, whereabouts. So we got the city from the phone information and the postcode, which we already know. You can actually mark this telephone number if they're a prank caller, if they're a rude person in the past. If they are, then that'll have a checkbox just so people are aware when they're about to call. So if I call, what happens is the phone that you've signed up with will ring. You then answer. It says, we're directing you to the person that needs help. It then calls the person that originally phoned, which is vulnerable. Again, at no point do they see each other's phone numbers. The only information that's then said is on the phone. And it's then down to the person that needs the help to give that information out. So if I click call now, I've signed up with my phone and the phone that I need help from. So that's not working there at the moment, but it just says, thanks for calling. How was the call? So you can say no answer. And if it is no answer, then it just goes back into the pool. So people are still notified. Every 10 minutes it's checked. So if someone hasn't been called within 10 minutes by anyone in their location, it reverts back to the helpers. Again, if it hasn't been called, it reverts back to me. So we can say no answer, I'm satisfied, I'm going to carry out what they need, or the person was rude or a prank, and if you want to be the primary care for this user. So we can say we're satisfied and I want to be the primary care for this user. in the future. So anytime that they need help again, I'll be sent a text message. Everyone else will be, but I'll be sent it with their name on there, so I know who it is that needs the help, and then just submit. So then you can see that person satisfied, and that's gone now. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, really. As I was saying, the thing that I was trying to capture is I think it's great what people are doing, the volunteer wise. I think it's just an incredible thing. But the thing that I'm worried about is it's a lot of Facebook groups and a lot of online volunteering, which, you know, I see my nan and granddad. My nan's good at tech, my granddad is not, and I'm really concerned about those people that do need the help. And again, this can be used across the country, but it's just more the issue that we're going to potentially have is not enough people will sign up. But as long as it helps someone, that's what we care about. So if you wanted to reach me out or talk further on this, or if you have any ideas or want to be able to test it, please email me. It's Katie, Katie .Lacy, LACY at letsgetcoffee.co.uk. And yeah, let's have a chat and see if we can get this out there. Thank you for your time.